And we're live with Legal Man. Once again, welcome back, Legal Man.
Thanks. Great to be here.
And tonight, we've went from... This was like a joke suggestion I had for what we could talk about. Because this was something that was a viral moment. Like when I was a youngster, I suppose. I was in my prime, I suppose.
Yeah, back when you had a hard on all the time.
Pretty much, yeah. So I just sort of jokingly suggested it, but then I looked into it, and whoo boy, is it a well of just well, anyway, let's not bury the lead. We're talking about Kony 2012.
Yeah. I think it's the fakest thing we've ever covered.
Yeah, in many ways. It's like when you say the fakest thing, you mean that in like a prism, you know, like when you shoot a light through a prism and a rainbow comes out.
Yeah.
Like this is a whole prism of bullshit.
Yeah.
It really was shocking. I mean, I'd never heard of it. And
me neither.
I went and looked on Wikipedia from the link and you guys sent, and then I watched the movie, and that 30-minute movie is probably one of the most hilarious, insane, self-indulgent kind of virtue signaling loads of crap I'd ever seen. I can't believe something that stupid went like legit viral. I could have seen it go viral as just a complete mock of these people for putting out such a hilarious pice of crap, but the fact that it was taken seriously was
it seemed like they were created by South Park.
Yeah, it's what I mean. It was that crazy with all the kid being born and you make it change the world, and the guy's it was just a million layers of insanity there.
Well, Can I just say this? The video itself, the Kony 2012 video, is quite possibly the gayest thing I've ever seen.
Oh my God, the narrator's voice alone. I was like, how does he have a kid? He actually has a kid. Okay, all right, he has a kid. All right.
He probably just watched.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
My wife's son.
Yes. I'm surprised he didn't come out black. There he is. Oh, whoa. I wonder, my wife must have been, I don't know what happened there.
It's also funny because this was back in the time. 2012 was a long time. You really forget how different things were then.
Right.
Because I don't know what interview it was, but someone was like, and of course they said this to his face, and of course there are rumors that you're gay. And he was like, well, Oprah or whoever it was, a lot of people have seen that, but I assure you, I'm just from California.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, same thing.
And he also said, my parents raised me.
It was so insane. I'm glad I'm not the only one who was just thinking that, because I didn't see a lot of that.
There are almost infinite ways in which this is fake.
Yes, right.
That's what I mean when I said the prism.
Yeah, the first thing that came to me was, okay, this happened in 2012. This is some kind of, this is there to discredit, not to discredit, but to harness the energy of the Occupy movement into something 100%. Futile. That I think that's one of the clearly that this guy spent his whole career basically being a spook in Africa.
Yeah,
with supposedly financed by a Christian charity,
right.
And okay, that he's a spook. He's a Fed, and that. And
I've said this before. I don't know if I've said it on the show, but something me and William will speak of often on the show. But if you're white and you have a Wikipedia page and you're known for doing shit in Africa, and you're not a Boer, you're probably a spook.
It's just almost assuredly. I mean, come on.
No white people get up to good shit over there.
They run into the bush when Doctors Without Borders show up. They know.
Yeah.
They know.
Yeah.
Wow.
They weren't born yesterday. That's all they've ever seen is these white people pretending to be do-gooders showing up.
Right.
And next thing that happens is bad.
Right. Right. It's just a wake of just destruction. I couldn't believe what I was watching.
That
I really
like
couldn't
every iteration of imperialism always has the like, we're doing this for their good.
Yeah.
Right.
Even like the Congo, even like Leopold II or whatever in the Congo was like, we're doing this to make them Christian, guys.
Yeah.
This is good.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. It was really, really, really crazy.
But they did also take hands and lips and shit off in this story too. So I know it's about 130 years after the Heart of Darkness. Turns out shit hasn't changed much in all Africa.
Wow. That place is really screwed up. That place is so screwed up.
So the other funny angle on this is that you have to watch. I mean, I was a bit dubious about this topic, but I got really interested in it because it's just so straight. It just piqued my curiosity of like, I've got to try and figure out what's actually behind this.
Yeah.
There must be some element of truth somewhere in there. I've probably done more research on this episode than any other because I'm trying to find it out. Now, you've got to watch a lot of documentaries before you find one that mentions anything about the political situation in Uganda that spawned this Lord's Resistance Army in the first place. All it is, especially in the film in question, but in 90% of the other films that are available about it, it's just, this guy's he's got no ideals. He's just crazy, like Putin or Hitler. He's just a bad guy. That's all it is. He's bad, and the Ugandan government is trying to do the right thing. Sure, I totally buy that. Yeah, of course, the Ugandan.
Also,
it's had the same president since 1967. Of course, it's fucking genuine and legitimate government.
Yeah. No, but also the other thing is like another thing that should raise your eyebrows as someone who is aware of propaganda is that a lot of the mythos around this Joseph Kony guy is like,
but basically this is why I say it's repurposing the idiocracy of element of the Occupy movement, which the Occupy movement actually had some legitimate aims, but they basically, the spooks have decided, we need to repurpose this into making people angry about racism instead of being angry about having to work overtime in the ammunition factory to pay the mortgage on your house that's fucking so your kids can go and die in the war that the bank you owe the mortgage to is funding both sides of. That we can't have people being worried about that. We've got to find a bad guy and get people to worry about that. And I think it's like, it comes across to me like it's kind of just an experiment to see what they could do. And I think it surprised them how effective it was to their ends. But like at the end of the movie, he goes, look, we've already succeeded in getting the US to intervene. But we're getting left-wing bleeding heart liberals to support intervention in military intervention in Africa.
Right.
Wow. Okay. Great move. But unless people get really angry about it, they're going to stop it. They're going to pull the military guys out. We can't have that because that's what always happens, isn't it? As soon as like the US gets involved militarily somewhere, they're always just quitting and pulling out straight away. What happened in Afghanistan?
They got to lure the allies in and get them completely committed so that when they pull out, they're totally screwed. Yeah. Much worse than they were before we were there. First, you got to do that. So then you get 3 generations of slaughter as soon as we pull out. And that's the key.
Yeah, I mean, but this happens in 2012. They've been in Afghanistan 10 years with 0 success already. And it's just the popular support that's keeping them there. Like, it's a completely fake premise. Once the government starts doing something, it never stops. Because
when they say this thing was viral, when you say the thing was viral, because literally I have no memory of this, and I was alive, obviously an adult, and never.
Well, let me tell you a small anecdote about it.
What was it? I mean, what did it mean? Were like people really actually rallying, or just it said 1 million people had watched on YouTube? That's nothing. It was the biggest video on YouTube at the time. Like 1 million people. Justin Bieber gets that crap in like 15 minutes.
For sure.
Right. So I was just very confused. Tell me, give me some idea of the scale.
500,000 people in 3 hours.
Right.
It was massive.
Well, let me just tell you from my perspective. I was there, man, at Kony 2012.
You don't know what
I was in the
man.
shit. I was in the shit on Facebook on Kony 2012. Where were you? Probably on fucking MySpace.
You need a t-shirt, I think.
Thank you for
I
your
survived
service,
Kony
Scott.
2012 and all I got was this lousy t-shirt. Well, anyway, I mean, also, let me just set the stage for you here. I was my most obnoxious young libertarian male at the time that this was happening. So this is Ron Paul 2012. This was the real big time, baby.
Yeah.
And I was the most obnoxious anti-war gold bug you could possibly be. And so I was always arguing on Facebook. And then this video came out and I was like, all right, here we go. Like, I'm ready to fucking be like, of course it's a no-brainer. Like I was already like, no, we shouldn't intervene on behalf of some fucking African warlord who gives the fuck about, by the way.
Yeah.
And this, by the way, was 2012 where you could kind of just be casually racist.
Yeah.
Whereas you can just be like, I don't give a fuck with a bunch of fucking bone in their nose. Like, that was going on, and it was huge. I can't tell you how many fucking people I saw in my immediate peer groups, parents' peer groups, even. Also, to bear in mind, I'm from Massachusetts, so it definitely it was definitely like a culturally liberal thing.
Yeah, it's aimed at libtards, isn't it? Which might explain why.
You never saw it, exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. Of course, I saw it. I saw it because I'm in social congress with many libtards, being where I am.
Yeah.
And then, by the way, this was a great invitation for me to own said libtards in arguments.
Awesome. Did you destroy them with facts and logic,
bro? Ben Shapiro learned it from me. So anyway, so this was very funny. And also another thing was a lot of the, I also kept company with some people who I would say were legitimately left wing, and they also sort of had the same take on it as us, by the way.
Okay, good.
Kind of. Yeah, I did watch a left wing commentary on it, and
I think I watched the same one as you.
Kind of an English guy.
Yes, that guy. Yeah.
Kind of
what
cringe.
A boner, dude. Yeah.
I mean, this guy is like, oh, well, what's really the problem is it's the Christian groups funding this charity.
Yes,
yeah, naturally. They're picking up the trail of breadcrumbs that's left there, especially for them. Like what we've got to be scared of is right-wing Christians dominating American discourse.
Right. Yeah.
And
here's the reality of it.
He's saying that with one hand, and with the other hand, he's saying, I mean, we all know what happened because, Christianity should never have been imported to Europe. It's not an African. It never been imported to Africa. It's not an African thing, and blah blah blah. All that.
Right. Yeah.
So, and then with the other hand, he's saying, well, we all know what happens to the communist leaders in Africa, and you're like, that's an African philosophy, is it?
Yes, he literally did do that. Yeah.
Karl Marx was African, was he?
Yeah, well, we was communists and shit. We was Karl Marx and shit. But no, so yeah, that same guy, yes. Also, another thing is he engaged in what I like to call Schrodinger's white savior.
Yeah.
Because one hand, he was bitching about the fact that, oh, it's so fucking great. Here comes the white saviors, hey, to fix all of the problems from the fucking Africans, in it.
Yeah.
And then so, because that's on one hand of his fucking bullshit, but then in the same fucking video, this guy engages in, well, it's true that white people just don't give a fuck what happens to Africa anyway. So it's like, which is it, asshole?
Right.
Is it fucking, well, I know what it is. It's just Schrodinger's white savior. It's whatever is convenient for his gay neckbeard argument at the moment.
So you're saying that you remember the event and that
Right. I have a
Was there anything
excellent
besides
anecdote about this.
But was there anything besides people talking about it online? Were
I'm
there
very
people
glad you
actually
asked.
doing things with their time, money? Was there actually that, or was it just talk?
I'm very glad you asked. So as you recall in the video, in the original Kony 2012 video, and many of the videos that recall the events of around the Kony 2012 incident, the entire thing was supposed to culminate in a day of action on none other than Adolf Hitler's birthday.
Yes, I saw
2012.
Right.
And coincidentally,
420, dude, so funny.
Well, dude,
So
coincidentally, this guy, young gold bug libertine, even if you will, at age 20, almost 22, 21, almost 22. I went to Farmington, Maine, and was engaging in a 420 celebration, which was Farmington, Maine is, for those who don't know, is where Maine is. And it's a bit of a party town. And I stayed at an unheated cabin, and we put the oven on overnight to heat it because it was fucking below freezing in Maine at that time of the year. But we got trashed for like 3 days. But when we got up there in Farmington, Maine, we found that the entire town was decked out in Kony 2012 posters, banners. Every store in the fucking town had a full-sized, like, how like they have like the big ticker tape, like giant banners that they hang at the like end of beginning of a race. All those, like those saying Kony 2012 and then saying something we all can agree on, which is, if you recall, was one of the mottos of it. And then
basically the thing that we can all agree on there is, they're kind of crazy.
Wow. Incredible.
Is crazy.
And that's what they got libtards to say. It's so slick how they did it, how it worked.
Yeah. And so, it was fucking crazy. But then get this, the next day on 420, we were like, oh, I bet they're going to have like a big demonstration in town. Not a soul.
No.
See? Okay. So there you go. So no one actually attending, doing
But there was definitely man hours put into hanging all these decorations up.
Okay. I understand that. Yeah. But that just reminds me of the kind of wag the dog, throw the shoes up in the trees kind of thing. It's like, who really might have funded that thing to hang that stuff? Was it really individuals, or
it was
they were
probably like
kids,
Mexican day laborers going around in an old Chevy pickup?
I just wonder. I mean,
I will say this: I do believe it was UMaine students or whatever. But here's the thing: by the time that the day of 420 had rolled around, I believe the dog had begun, or the worm had turned on the whole thing. Rather,
really?
Sorry, I mixed the metaphors.
Yeah, because this is the other aspect of it, is that
the gay guy from the video.
Yeah, when it came out, because obviously, I think this was just an experiment by the authorities or the money or whoever's behind it.
The deep state.
Yeah, and they so. Like, I don't know, the 2 days after the video came
mind control.
The guy went out in the street naked and started rolling around on the floor and jerking off and stuff and got arrested.
Well, the jerking off is probably apocryphal detail, but he was nude.
Look,
I saw the video and he was pounding the ground like an infant.
Yeah.
Fully nude in full motion video. Did you not hear this part of the story?
I didn't see that part.
That's the
no.
They're like guys with big beards, let's say, with walkie-talkies are going, shut it down.
Yeah, this guy, they hit his MK Ultra trigger, I guess.
Oh, see, I mean, for me, I was just so blown away when I turned it on the first 5 minutes of Kony 2012, or what a Joe Kony. I was like, how could anybody take it seriously? I thought for sure it was like a satire, a parody of a film that would get people riled up. And so I'm still having a very difficult time getting my mind around the fact that people actually took it seriously. But I guess They did, and you're saying that they intentionally blew the thing up fairly shortly after.
Oh, I don't know if
put
it was
out?
intentional.
I
The
think it
cover,
was.
at least the story.
Well, the guy
is-
melted down, you're saying.
Yes, for sure.
So,
yeah.
okay, so you think that was unintentional?
Listen, I'm agnostic about it, frankly.
Okay, I'm just curious. I mean, he puts a film out that's pretty slick. I don't know if he's a real documentarian or not. I really don't know what it is.
Something
I mean,
of one,
obviously-
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
Well,
that's
let me
his
tell you,
cover.
In the intelligence agency, they have this term called a legend.
Yeah.
And the beginning, which is the origin story of why a figure is going, or a motivation for why a piece of intelligence is going to occur. So this guy's legend is that he was a young gay student filmmaker.
Not that there's anything wrong with
it. Yeah. In the 1990s.
Go, Jerry.
And he was looking for a subject to start his documentarian career, and he just so happens to pick Uganda.
He just happened to be there.
He throws a dart on the at Africa and hits Uganda.
Well,
And
the thing I didn't understand was he makes a movie in I guess sometime close to 2012 because that's when it's released. But that's I think it was he says in there it's 10 years later. Is when he's doing it. And from what I can tell, that guy wasn't even, I mean, the issue is pretty much moot by the time he finished the movie.
That's the craziest part,
but it's in the movie that it's clearly moot. He makes it clear in the first 5 minutes that, well, this was 10 years ago. And, it's
but
like,
it's such
10
legal,
years
man.
ago,
It's such
dude.
a long video. You're expecting people to have watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
No,
I'm just asking a lot.
mean, for me, in the first few minutes, I was like, well, this is 10 years ago. You just told me that this shit is not going to be in any way relevant at this point. I mean, how old is the kid you were interviewing, and he's already grown up? And why did you wait? If it was such an emergency to get rid of this pedophile guy running around killing people, wait 10 years to put the movie out? What is this crap? That to me was
the
like,
gears of
obviously
justice
crap.
move very slowly.
Dude.
I mean, how are you going to, I don't get, why would you allow that fake promise that I promise I'm going to do something and I didn't know what it was. And then 10 years later, you put the movie out. I just thought that was, I don't know. That just seemed to me to be like, wink, wink. This is not legit. Nobody waits 10 years to do something about an emergency situation where kids are being tortured and killed, and he's having to watch his brother's hand chopped off or some crap. It's like,
can I tell you?
Why'd you wait 10 years?
Can I tell you, at the time, I was already a 9/11 truther. I was already having, well, you know, I was basically a fucking revisionist history guy already. And the point is I looked at this and was like, yup, seems legit and gay. I don't want anything to do with it. And that was my take on it at the time, my honest to God take on it. And of course,
he seems like a bad guy. I 100% agree that he's a bad guy. But if he's a bad guy, why did you wait 10 years to put them? That's the part that's just I can't get past. Doesn't make any sense.
Now that we know a little bit, well, let's just put the fine point on it. So the end of the story is that after all this attention, after this all this attention that this guy, I forget what his name is. Well, maybe somebody should look it up. But here, actually, it's right here. But as he what's it called? Jason Russell.
I figured it would be Peter. Nathan Peterson. Nathan Peterman. Okay.
What was I just getting at there? I totally got off the track because I was trying to remember the guy's name.
Well, I'll just say.
Well, you said you looked it up after 10 years and you were going to check it out. But I still don't understand why would anyone wait 10 years to put it out? I don't.
Well,
that doesn't make sense.
There were movies made. So I've watched. Well, I don't watch anything. I listen to.
Right. Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. Let me just get this off. Yeah. Let me just get this out of the way. I'm sorry. So at the end of this, Jason Russell has a fucking meltdown, and then he ends up on the fucking streets of San Francisco, pounding the pavement, screaming, crying, and getting arrested for indecent exposure.
He gets shit in his Jap's eye if he tried that now, wouldn't he?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
like more shit in his Jap's eye.
Right. Yeah.
I don't even think anybody would notice it at this point.
Yeah, I know. You could probably get away with it. You wouldn't get arrested now. Yeah, that's a good point. But anyway,
think of something else. He'd have to support Trump or something to get in trouble.
Yeah. But here's the thing. So all that said, now let's look at what the real story of Joseph Kony is, which should raise your fucking eyebrows. So we just talked about the whole fake ad campaign around Joseph Kony, which, by the way, raised hundreds of millions of dollars in like selling those little fucking kits with the fucking press kit and shit, with the poster and a t-shirt and shit. They were all ready to go, mass produced in China, and they made fucking ducats. And much like many people have heard of the Susan G. Komen Foundation for breast cancer, they're the people who do the pink ribbon thing. Well, their thing is they don't spend a fucking penny of the money they make on breast cancer research. It all goes back into the organization,
raising awareness. I think they call it. Yes. There you go.
Awareness is so important, because it, like,
obviously,
if we weren't aware of the Ukraine war, that America would stop funding it.
Obviously, yeah. But that's the thing. So the Kony 2012 Invisible Children Foundation, which was this like fucking obvious CIA cutout thing, was used this loophole by being like, oh, we're raising awareness. So they pocketed something to the tune of like $300 million for a fucking 30-minute video.
Wow.
And a free upload to YouTube, which is nuts.
Wow. 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 Crazy.
That whole thing was bullshit in its own right. So then we look into Joseph Kony, the whole Joseph Kony / Lord's Resistance Army thing. And did we just find out that also is all bullshit as well?
Yeah. So this was like the other thing that really struck me straight. The first thing, after I first started looking into it, I thought, I've got to just read the Wikipedia on the history of Uganda here, because what's the context for this? Because I've watched plenty of videos about it, and very few of them mention anything about the political situation in Uganda,
right,
that gave rise to this.
Most of it's just like horror porn about Joseph Kony's acts, which are probably fake.
I mean, they have the Journeyman Films is one of the better kind of documentary making channels on YouTube. But they've got a 2002 one, which doesn't really say anything about it. And then they've got, I think, a bit of a later one. But in the 2002 one, they actually say, well, they basically say they weren't all that bad until the Ugandan government really started going after them. And but it's all going to be over soon because they're going to get him. Yeah. And that was in 2002.
Right. Cut to 5 years later.
Yeah.
The documentary.
Yeah.
10.
Yeah.
Well, sure. Right. Yeah. But I mean, but the same company's making another one 5 years later. I'm saying.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I don't know how anybody can believe that, anything about that. It's so ridiculous. That's incredible.
Well, I will say this is that one of the documentaries showed footage of like this ride along this. Was that Al Jazeera that did that one, or was that Journeyman?
No, that was Journeyman.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And yeah, they rode along with like the Ugandan military, which was, 50% comprised of former Kony soldiers, which is just like also like, what the fuck are we doing here, guys? This reminds me of that in the Greek Revolution episode where like 1 week the Greek rebels would be the Greek rebels who worked for the Ottomans, and then the next week they'd be fighting for the rebels.
Yeah.
And then vice versa. They would just pass back and forth who is the rebels and who is the defense force or whatever.
But I mean, this is another aspect of it. The Ugandan government eventually decided, look, the way to stop them, because really what it comes down to is that after sort of it became not about Uganda at all. It was about the South Sudanese independence movement, and North Sudan, or Sudan as it's properly known, was financing Kony, and keeping it going. That's what it was all about. Was that mentioned in Kony 2012? No.
Nope.
and so they were just, North Sudan was using Kony to destabilize South Sudan. And it didn't have anything to do with Uganda by that point.
And by the way, it was the most grug thing too, because they were paying them to do this in order to keep the South Sudanese down, because the LRA, the Lord's Resistance Army, who were headed by Kony, were already killing other of co-ethnics with the South Sudanese. Like, this is the thing. There's like 8 different ethnic tribes that, by the way, if you put them in a lineup, I couldn't fucking tell them apart.
Right.
And they hate each other naturally, of course. And they're constantly genociding one another. So the North Sudanese, the Khartoum government, and in order to prevent the South Sudanese independence movement, which was comprised of co-ethnics that existed in Uganda that were also not in ethnic conflict with the Joseph Kony people. It's Africa. It's the heart of darkness.
Yeah.
Right. How can anybody watch that and think that a situation
there's a fixing it? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was beyond kind of childlike storybook nonsense. I still can't believe, how did it become viral? I mean, how do they create that? There's no way that could independently become viral without.
I think it was just so saccharine. It's so saccharine that a lot of
I know, but there's lots of stuff like that out there. I mean,
this was a time and a place.
There is something in this. There was that Occupy energy still swirling around.
I know.
And like it is the way it was presented. There is white savior bullshit is a real thing. You know, for all
it can be unlocked at times.
Yeah. For sure.
It can be unlocked, I agree. But in order to create something, I agree. It has all of the necessary elements of the sort of idiocracy response that you can get from people. And it's very professionally done to do that. But I still, there's an element of having to get the thing moving in a major way in order to create the viralness.
I mean, also don't forget, in those days, YouTube wasn't throttled back, so like if people watch things, it did get to
there was no algorithm at the time.
It was easy to get a meteoric rise on YouTube in those times. It happened.
See, I don't remember the way it worked back then. How was it easier? What was
basically the way YouTube worked was if someone uploaded a video, it popped up on the front page.
Yeah.
And if that got popular and shared around, there was nothing to stop people from seeing it. In fact, it would push more. The more people who clicked it, the more would see it. Like it was a more straightforward algorithm at the time, as before they decided to play God, essentially.
Yeah. Well, which I'm sure it was planned all along. To start it out as a legitimate thing, just like Twitter, and then
it used to be that if the first video you ever made was fucking shit hot and everybody loved it, then your channel could become giant overnight. It's just not like that anymore. You have to be what they want, otherwise
you have to be chosen.
See it.
You have to have acceptable.
Genuine that retards that I knew on Facebook were like, "Oh, that's so sad."
100%. I believe that. I believe that once you got enough thing moving, for sure, it's got all the components to drive the virtue signaling idiocy. But it's just I didn't understand. You know, I think if you knew how to start it, get it kickstarted properly, sounds like it would have its own momentum. I would believe that by the time.
This guy also definitely was a CIA asset too.
That's what I'm saying. It's clearly they had a system. They knew how to get it moving, and I agree that once it got moving, that having watched it, I can see how a lot of idiots. Yeah, a lot of idiots would watch that and tearjerker and start, putting heart emojis and all sorts of other stupid crap around it.
But that's all they'll do. That's the thing. They won't.
That's right. But they paid money. But they also paid money.
That's true. They did.
That's what you say. That's
but
the part.
This is the other.
Like.
Hey, look, these black ops don't fund themselves, legal man.
That's true. The other thing is like
the money all probably went to guns for Joseph Kony.
Yeah, that's where it ended up. Yeah,
because this is one thing I haven't been able to find out in my researches is back in 1987 when it was a Ugandan thing, where did the money come from for the guns that he supposedly gave to the children that he kidnapped?
I actually have an answer for that.
Okay.
Oh, good.
The LRA, the Lord's Resistance Army, is an offshoot of the National Resistance Army.
Okay.
And that was armed by none other than Muammar Gaddafi.
Oh, right. Chad.
Okay.
Yes.
Muammar Gaddafi.
Gotcha.
So it all trickled down from Muammar Gaddafi is the answer.
So what we're saying is Hillary was right.
Evidently, yeah. We saw he died.
Right. Wow. Wow.
But okay, so what was I gonna say? So
That's
okay, we're gonna
amazing.
talk a little bit more about the Kony thing. So like, here's the other thing. All these documentaries show all these ex-Kony. This is like this thing glows, like, is what I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
Like this, like there was, when you watch these videos, there's this truly, and maybe this is just my latent racism bubbling in the background, but there's definitely a level of the way that these soldiers who are fighting ostensibly for the Ugandan government and or, you know, South Sudanese government, trying to hunt down Kony, they seem like they're kind of, this seems like a production. It seems like it was a play acting kind of thing. Like they were playing soldiers. Like, and I've, you know, I'm fairly familiar with firearms. These guys don't look like they really know how to hold a gun. Yeah. And you're telling me that these are like the paid professional soldiers who spend all day, every day, trudging through the forest looking for Joseph Kony, or, you know, more likely, or the way it came off to me, I should say, and maybe I have a little bit of inherent skepticism, but it also seemed like they were making a movie about soldiers who would have been looking for Joseph Kony, and they never really do.
That documentary, that documentary where they take the journalist on the helicopter ride.
Right.
It's basically some fucking wannabe John Pilger.
Yes,
Aussie
he did have
chump.
the same, same
like,
Australian accent. Yeah,
some Aussie like teenager who, you know,
I'm gonna guide to Africa and I'm gonna be a famous journalist.
Basically, the CIA contact of the Ugandan Interior Ministry goes and knocks on the door and he says, "Look, mate, we've got some funding here. What we're going to do is we're going to give free helicopter rides to independent journalists. Give them a free helicopter safari."
Cool it. Do you just say free helicopter rides?
I mean
for journalists?
I mean helicopter safaris.
Yes, I know. I'm doing a bit
for so-called independent journalists, and that basically these independent journalists are experiencing the hospitality of one of the worst governments in the world, in the Ugandan government.
Yes.
And they're just taking everything they're told and just reporting it as fact. That's it. There's no inquiry there. Oh, it's we're seeing it. They don't see Joseph Kony or any of his guys. They just, the guys they're with just say, "Oh, look, we're tracking him. Oh, yeah, we can tell he was here yesterday." And
they're like looking down at like a campfire, and they're like, "Oh, he was clearly here 2 days ago."
You can tell there was a commander because there are chicken bones.
Yeah, only a commander would have a chicken to eat.
And these guys, they just lap it up, dude. They're like, "Whoa!" I mean, this is guy. He's probably still at university, right, doing a journalism course, and he gets this ticket. I got a ticket to ride on a bellhooey, in fucking Uganda with all these big glistening black guys holding guns, and they
do all glisten too, by the way, especially Kony.
You'd fucking glisten if you were in that forest, dude.
That's true, yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be all these Bernie Mac motherfuckers are gonna tell me what everything I see means, and I'm gonna tell the folks back home, dude. I mean, these documentaries are much better than Kony 2012, by the way.
Oh yeah, yeah. I do recommend you check out on the Journeyman Pictures or Journeyman Films or whatever the hell the name of the channel is pretty good channel for like all kinds of like offbeat journalism.
Yeah,
topics,
it's good.
You know what I mean?
So look, I think that their journalists got hoodwinked. I think that the Kony 2012 guy was a spook.
Yeah.
Right. That's my I think, and it's pretty. If you're going to hoodwink a journalist, some kid who's still in college, it's probably the one to do it. And if you get the feeling that he's not buying it, you just kill him.
Yeah.
Nobody will know.
Yeah. No one will miss him. Yeah. They'll be like, "Oh, he went to Africa." Well, you know what happens there. Now what happened to Mick? Yeah. He went to fucking Africa. Oh no, he's not gonna come back. We'll never see him anymore. Mo.
You probably ate a bad snake.
Not the good snakes like here. He probably died because he was wearing shoes.
Yeah.
He got shoe poisoning.
You got sweaty feet, mate.
He smoked too many fucking darts. He smoked a bad dart in Africa. All right, I'm done. I'm sorry. I just fucking love doing it. Shouts out Brown Snake. Anyway, so what else was I gonna say? So yeah, it's also another thing is like, so Joseph Kony. Here's the other thing. Okay, so this is the thing that really is fucking crazy. So we already talked about the very insane, obviously phony baloney ad campaign that was Kony 2012. But almost as mystifying was the absolute 180 the media took on this video. This is why I think was authentically passing person to person.
This,
well, it's very easy to get on eBay now.
But I mean, 2012. What all did they sell? That they
t-shirts, t-shirts, buttons, stickers, and posters.
Yeah, that's why the American advisors are still there.
Yeah,
posters. They sold so many of them. Buttons. It works.
Well, it was in like a little press kit. You got all of the things for $30. It was a package deal.
Some swagged up thing.
Yes,
I see.
Correct.
Okay.
And obviously it was all made with like, probably out of boron. You know, and it's like literally gives you cancer for putting it anywhere near you.
Some Chinese factory that outsourced to Africa to get even better pricing for
literally Joseph Kony himself made the shirt.
his own little kids made them.
Yeah.
Yeah. He probably made money off it too.
But here's the other thing. The about face that they did in the media was like, I don't know, Legal Man, if you had looked into this at all. But like
I just saw that there was obvious backlashes,
right?
Okay. But I just couldn't believe it even took so long. Like I said, I was still stuck on the fact that anybody could ever believe this thing to begin with.
I'm sure you, by the way, assumed that the backlash was this is fake, and no, of course we shouldn't get involved with that. That's but no. The irony is, I suppose it's not irony because it's not the opposite of what you'd expect. But the crazy bit is that they turn this into not, hey, we should have a more light touch with imperialism. Hey, maybe interventionism is a mistake. Hey, maybe we don't have to go around being the world police. No, the backlash and sort of what you're supposed to draw from this whole episode was you're racist for sharing that video.
Oh, really?
There are hundreds. There are hundreds of opinion pieces. Just for the listener, do yourself a favor, type in Kony 2012 plus HuffPost or whatever, what have you, salon.com. And there will be literally double-digit think pieces, guest columns, and opinion pieces about how not only shouldn't we get involved in Kony, in the affairs of Uganda, but you're actually a piece of shit for even considering it, white person.
Wow. Wow. What kind of a weird spin is that? That just adds even more fuel to the total psyop fire.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that because like this is where my other conspiracy mind goes here, by the way, is that I assume that maybe it's possible that Kony has been dead for years.
Right.
Right. And they don't want this $4.5 million fucking foreign military aid that Obama had personally signed into law in 2011. I think they mentioned that in the video, the Kony 2012 video. But they don't want you investigating into this.
Yeah, they don't want you going in that area. The last thing they want is someone going there and really actually checking out this story and the details.
Yeah.
Wow, you're racist to share the video now.
They never take an opportunity. They never miss, I should say, miss an opportunity to call you racist, by the way.
Yeah, that was really the start of it there.
Yeah,
2012 was really running heavy. It was really pushing that shit.
Yeah.
It took a couple of years of having Obama in there to really destroy the race relations, because I had a very clear memory of what things were like leading up to it. And it was really completely fine. And now you compare it, it is so terrible now. The race relations have been completely destroyed. And
yeah,
he was the great uniter.
I was like in my, dude, I voted for Obama the first time I was able to vote.
That's greatness. That is hilarious.
Well, I was 18 years old in 2008.
Still hilarious.
And also, I bought his bullshit about non-interventionism as well. Wow. I bought his. We're gonna close. Listen. I was 18 years old. I didn't know.
No, I understand. I'm just. It's a good insight into.
I learned my lesson.
It's a good insight into the reality of how, because I didn't grow up during this time of social media and internet crap, and that otherwise very intelligent people they really can get suckered into all sorts of stuff. And, and if they don't have whatever that little twist is in your mind that, brings you out of it, that the vast majority of people aren't going to have, they're just going to go deeper into the world of this fantasy illusion that's created for them.
Well, that's very funny you say that, because, we alluded to this before, of course, but I do believe that this Kony 2012 op was very much the aim of it was to sort of suck some of the energy out of the Occupy thing. And it's very
redirect
funny
it,
right? Because that's actually the Occupy thing is what got me off the libtard train.
Really?
Because when I was a young man, I got my first like decent job in that same maybe 2011, actually, now I'm thinking about it. But it was like 2010 or something when I got that job. Yes, okay. But either way, so it was 2010, and then Occupy was happening, and 2009, 2010, and I see these fucking scumbags sitting around. Boston had its own Occupy in Dewey Square, as opposed to it was like Washington Square Park or something in New York. But in Dewey Square in Boston, I'd have to walk through the fucking camp to get to my fucking job. And I was like, I hate these fucking hippies. And then that night, I remember I was stewing about it, and I saw that Peter Schiff video, I'm the 1%, Let's Talk, where he went to the Occupy Wall Street protest and explained what the Federal Reserve was, how it worked, and how they were the ones they were mad at.
There's a video that explains why YouTube decided
it red pilled me. That's what got me down this whole thing. Like,
that video would, if it happened now, you'd never see it.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Peter Schiff is a fucking vanilla ass fucking Peter Schiff. Like, he's not he's not trying to fucking break up the New World Order. Like, but he is currently fucking throttled. It's hard to find Peter Schiff content.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah, because he's against the Federal Reserve, and that's
his dad went to jail for not paying his taxes. That's a fucking sick anecdote. He was just like, I'm not gonna pay my taxes. Go ahead, throw me in jail. And they were like, sure, we will.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty base. That's a great start.
That is very base, honestly. He put his money where his mouth is. I think he was like maybe possibly going senile at that time, but it makes sense.
It's cheaper than going into a care home as well.
True. For hots in a cot, baby.
Yeah, dude, it's massively tax effective, really, if you think about it.
Yeah, he's probably making money on the inside.
Yeah.
His investments were paying off.
He broke out just by rubbing his hands together.
Yeah.
You realize this is
that's what the Zek at the end of Jack Reacher said. Prison in America, a retirement home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Wow. This is amazing. I'm just so many amazing layers of insanity in the story. And I'm amazed that they were able to sell all that gear. I guess it's a worldwide thing too. You can sell gear to jokers all over the world if you have this.
Especially if it's cheaply made.
Yeah, cheaply made, falls
Drop
apart.
shipped.
Wear it, wash it. It's just already torn as soon as you take it out of the dryer.
Should I buy a Kony 2012 shirt? Like, it's
It'd
available
be
on
hilarious
eBay.
to have one.
Yeah. All right, maybe I'll just get the poster and hang it up back here, and that I'll replace Operation Eichmann with Kony 20.
Kurt's insanity down. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the news? I don't understand. How is this news? It's a shame. It's not like I don't think it's a shame. It is.
Here's another thing that I found out in my researches, because if you remember in the actual Kony 2012 video, much is made of the fact that this guy's so bad that he's the first thing that the newly constituted International Criminal Court, he's the first warrant they issued was against him, right? And so
even more evidence.
It makes me seem innocent.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So then you go back through. I've watched or listened to as much about it as I can and read as much about it as I've had time to in the limited period. Turns out that he was on the verge of giving himself up when they issued that warrant, and that was why he didn't.
Classic is that.
Loads of his senior officers had already come out of the bush, and because the Ugandan government passed an amnesty bill for them all that says, look, guys, by this time they're already just fucking around in South Sudan, and the Ugandan government passed a law that says, look, you guys, let's just forgive and forget. A lot of shit's gone down. You can all come out of the bush. And so that they interviewed these guys in, I think, in an Al Jazeera movie, and they were all like, oh yes, I still have all my wives. They still love me.
Yeah.
And all this sort of shit, right? And so, like brigadiers and high up officers in that came out, and they're just riding around on a moped delivering pizza or whatever now in Kampala. And Kony and a lot of those guys were saying, yeah, he was going to come out, but they issued this International Criminal Court warrant against him, so he couldn't, because he was wanted for war crimes in The Hague. So it's it's documented that they did that. I mean, why
they want
would
to make sure he doesn't come out?
Yeah, why would some kind of supranational?
I mean, also supernatural. We didn't even mention that. Yeah. They say he's like magic.
Dude, this is my favorite part of it. Right? Okay. Yeah. This Journeyman film where this young kid's riding around in a helicopter. He says, mate, this actually isn't even the Australian one, but I'm going to do the voice anyway.
Yeah.
He goes, mate, they say he's supernatural, and one of the things they say he can do is control swarms of bees. And fuck me, when I was there, I got stung all over, mate. I got stung on the end of my dick.
Avid listeners of the podcast will know that we're anti-bee on this show.
I was like, because like my sympathies were divided until I heard that, and I thought, oh, this guy's into bees. Fuck him.
But no, the best part was like that guy goes, he goes like, yeah, mate, they fucking said it, he controls bees. And I was like, no way, that's bullshit. And then a few minutes later, a big swarm of bees comes.
But I mean, in reality,
so maybe.
Yeah, the reality of that is so transparent. What happened is the guy who he's repeating everything he says, his contact is going, oh, Joseph Kony can control bees. So you better watch out for swarms of bees. Meanwhile, his corporal is just down the street in a tree whacking a big bee's nest with
Yeah, it's like Scooby-Doo. They're doing like a Scooby-Doo job on the journalist.
I mean, honestly, that's so obvious that's what it is, isn't it? Those guys know where all the bees nests are. They're from there.
Trap your soul inside a pot. And then literally they just like fucking take like they do like that bit from Scooby-Doo where he throws his voice into the pot.
Look, I got trapped inside this fucking pot, mate.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy, this video. It really is, though. It's like, and the other thing, it's like they're clearly like I said, it's like he's like, Sai, does this mean that like he's been here? And they're like, yes, that is what it means. He literally yes ands him.
Yeah.
Like they're doing improv. It's fucking crazy. So yeah, I again, also, William, while you were gone, I surmised to Legalman that it's possible that maybe the reason why they did this about face was because they were like, do not look into Joseph Kony. Yeah. We have him under control. But actually, keep sending $4 million a year.
Yeah. Yes.
Because what a gravy train for the
We are
Ugandan
just
military.
about to catch him.
We will make one movie a year while we want to make bees come. These stupid people will believe him.
Surprised they didn't sell like Joseph Kony honey.
Yeah.
They had all sorts of stuff they could have made with the bees and
Mate.
What's
slave
the deal
bees.
with African warlords?
Bees that were freed from Joseph Kony's control. So
He's a cannibal, Jerry.
God, people are so gullible. It's unbelievable to me. It's just mind-bending to me.
Dude, that's merch. We got to sell Joseph Kony honey.
I mean, right. I mean,
I don't want to be a child soldier.
Yeah. A portion of the proceeds could
He's
go
dying.
to free
He's
kids.
dying. He's dying.
I knew this was going to be a funny episode.
Was that wrong to eat my father?
Oh my
I'm trying to think of other.
Oh yeah, George Costanza thinks he's got it bad. These kids had to eat their parents.
The Summer of Kony. He's dying, dude.
It's boy soldier summer.
Wow. What a world.
Yeah,
Really
one of Joseph Kony leaves one of his child brides for a dumb reason. She has funny hands or some shit.
You can't remember her name. Mulva.
She is always talking to me too close. This is bullshit. I cannot date her anymore. Elaine, this is bullshit. Elaine like saves up fucking like the UN prophylactics that get dropped by the fucking paratrooper things.
I'm literally seeing stars from laughing.
Man, that's surprising. I didn't know all those things. That's hilarious, though. I'm glad that you guys picked that topic. That was quite entertaining. It was a good one. It was really good.
It often happens that the ones I'm the least keen on turn out to be the most interesting. So
that was a good one. That was a really entertaining one. I'm glad that you guys asked me on for that. That was funny. I'm glad I got to find out about it too.
Yeah,
what would you, before we get out of here, what would you like to promote to the audience?
Oh, I don't know. Hopefully the movie's coming out soon. In fact, while I was on here, I got a text and a call from Andrew, who's back in town. He's the director, and so I'm gonna get filled in about what went on at Acapulco with regards to the screening, and it should be out in a couple of weeks now. I know I've been saying that he's been making me a liar now for I don't know how many months, but
3 appearances is all.
It's close now because we've already done 95% if it's screened, and so we got some other stuff. So hopefully when that comes out, people will like it. We need to come up with some good merch. The show has inspired me to try to come up with some decent merch to sell around it, because there must really be a lot more money in merchandise than I imagine. But yeah, there's that. And anybody who's interested, I mean, my Twitter, God, they crushed me so bad, just like we were talking about with YouTube and the suppressing. My God, it's insane how bad
it's much worse now. Yeah,
it's so much worse over there now. And I've tried to decide if it's worth it to get a blue check, but I've gotten some people that said it didn't help. It actually made it worse as well. And so,
because then you got the ISR on you.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I'd pay the $10 a month or whatever it is in order to be able to have some more laughs with people, because that's really what I'm kind of there for. But if people want to find me, they can go over there, Legal Man at US Crime Review, and beyond that,
you should do Jones Plantation molasses.
Yeah, Andrew and I are gonna do some brainstorming about some decent merch. I think, we'll find out what kind of stuff people kind of liked in the pre-screening kind of thing, and make some T-shirts and things like that. And so I hope people like that. And obviously, a lot of the people who know your show know my podcast, The Quash, and if they want to find that, they can. If not, I don't know how much longer I can keep making the thing public, but I will. I'm going to keep doing it as long as I can, because I really enjoy doing things like this and the people I've
Right.
met through it. You know, I really have. I've met a lot of interesting people through it, both in my Twitter and my Patreon, and I've been on a lot of cool shows that it's like, oh, this is fun. These guys, they get it, and you know,
Yeah.
it's nice to interact with some people who get it. You know, who we can get a good laugh at the true, absolute, transparent fraud that's going on out there. These so many people take seriously.
Well, it's an old English maxim. You gotta laugh.
Yeah, exactly. It's good for me. It helps me, makes me feel better when I can laugh with people about how crazy it all really is. And, you know, I don't have to explain why it's funny. They get it. It's fucking insane. Right. That's why it's funny. Yeah. So yeah, thanks. I'm glad you guys had me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming, Legal Man.
And so definitely check out all of Legal Man stuff, the Quash podcast, and US Crime Review on Twitter. And for us, www.historyhomos.com. And wherever you find podcasts for the audio version of the show, we're also available on Odyssey and BitChute. And most importantly, Rockfin. That's www.rockfin. That's ROKFIN.com/historyhomos. You get this episode. You get all the previous Legal Man episodes. And you also, if you're so willing and able, you can donate a small fee per month and you get access to all of our bonus content, which includes Legal Men episodes, by the way. And also, you get a weekly bonus episode, and it's more of like a free form type episode. And so go check that out. And also, if you want to make a one-time donation, that's the best place to do it as well. So also visit our Telegram group, t.me/historyhomos and t.me/historyhomos chat to get in the chat. And come check us out at History Homos Pod across social media. And if you want to get a t-shirt, a current t-shirt, which I'll show you, we were talking a little bit about merch. It has Uncle Ted on the back, is the t-shirt. But email me at historyhomos@gmail.com with your size and address, and we'll figure it out. Just ask me the details there. Don't need to belabor the point, but let me say this.
Was this story based? Yes, it was.
And die with dignity. William, what do you want to say to the people?
None of the women in my village are virgins.
Later, homos.
She's shining. She's the only one to see. She's shining. She's the only one for him. She's shining. She's the only song to sing. She's shining. She's the only one for him. She'll rising in the morning. I see the king sitting on the throne. He's sitting there, sitting all alone.